Alien! I mean, life! Okay, the comparison to this and Alien only really go as far as the premise. A bunch of scientists find an alien organism, and it gets a little out of hand, and now they have to stop it from getting to Earth. To cut a long story short. The version you're watching right now is a spoiler version, but I do have a spoiler-free version down in the description. So if you don't want to know anything about this film, and trust me, the less you know about this film, the better, you're better off going with that review rather than this one. Last chance. Alright, sticking with it. Let's get to it. That leaves me the big strength of this film is its unpredictability. Like, anything can happen. Like, I don't really want to give anything away, but let's just say the less you know about the alien, the better. And even if I did tell you something about the alien, it's still going to catch you by surprise. And on top of that, anybody can die in this. There's like everybody's up for grabs. But that does also lead to a bad point against the film, is that there is kind of a lack of charisma and a lack of a main character. See, the problem with having a cast where anybody can die is that nobody really stands out. Except for Ryan Reynolds, but that's only because he's Ryan Reynolds and he's kind of doing what he does best. But as a consequence, you're not really as invested as you would be in, say, The Thing or Alien. You don't have an Ellen Ripley or you don't have a McCreary to kind of root for. You just have a group of survivors and, you know, the nice people, and you don't want to see them die, but at the same time, you're not, like, rooting for them as much as you could if you had, like, a much stronger presence here. Like, if you took, like, the cast of Kong Skull Island and put them in the situation, you'd probably, you know, you'd get a lot behind them a lot more. This film really needed a cast with a lot more charisma to really pull it off, and unfortunately, I don't feel like they did. That being said, I didn't want any of them to die. Spoilers, some people die. That leads me to the tension. You ever had that feeling where you're just like gripping your hand and you're just like, I want this moment to end, but I don't want to see how it ends. That's the entirety of this film. Like, it does have ease you into it, and then it hits on the accelerator, and from there it's just things going wrong and just constant and put him in new situations. Do you want a film that'll scare the shit out of you? Maybe literally. This is the film to do that. This is downright terrifying with just how much tension and dread it has. And the big source of that is the alien. I love the way that this thing is constantly evolving and it's constantly changing form and you don't know what it's going to do next. And it's keep coming up with new ways of outthinking the main characters. I don't think we've had like an alien bad guy this original and this terrifying in such a long time. I think the fact that it's intelligent is the most terrifying thing, because we see very early on it's using tools to get around the main characters, and that's just like a moment where you're just like, this is an entirely different ballgame. I think that's the analogy. I don't do sports. Does blitzball count? Unfortunately, the film kind of falls apart in the third act. There's a moment where, without giving anything away, something attaches itself to the ship. In that moment, it just kind of feels like a lot of chaos and a lot of things happening, and characters start doing things that don't really make sense. And before this, it was very good at describing the situation that the characters were in and making you fearful for the outcome. And this moment, it just kind of happens, and it's a lot of noise, and you can't really see anything, and it's just... The best way to describe it is chaos. And unfortunately, that lack of charisma comes back to bite the film in the ass at the very ending, because you're not really rooting for the characters. In fact, one of the characters declares that he is sacrificing himself, so you don't have, like, you know, that big emotional moment or really that much attachment to him when it happens. But it makes up for all of it with the ending. I'm not really much one for sad endings or just like, you know, middle finger endings, you know, the kind of thing where it's like the bad guy wins. And it kind of feels like if you're going to do it, you're going to have to do it right. And this film did it right. Like, this does a complete switch around of what you think's going to happen. And turns out, the alien wins. Humanity is destroyed. And it's not like in The Thing where, like, they beat the alien but they resign themselves to death. It's like, this is a real just, like, moment. Okay, my final roundup. Negative points, third act is where the film started to fall apart, and also the film suffered from the actors and the characters having like a lack of presence or charisma. But it makes up for it by being very unpredictable, and you don't want these characters to die, but there is a sense that any of them could. I'm also giving points to the alien because This thing is gonna be my nightmares for a very long time. It's chased the Xenomorph right out of there. Though I am still wary of Vent. It's always up there. Also, I'm giving some points to the tension and the ending. And the less I say, the better. So that gives us a final score of 7 out of 10. It kind of fell apart near the ending, and it really felt like it could have used a couple more stronger actors to really bring this forward. And the actors that they had did fine what they had, they just kind of needed that little bit more with this setup. But with that said, this is one of the scariest films I've seen in a long time. If you want a film that'll get under your skin, and you love films that like about, you know, space monsters and stuff like that, definitely check this one out. It's a highlight. I would say I would go see it again, but I'm fearful about if I could actually survive. Sleep well.